It was amazing. I mean, people liked the character, liked it, and I was always expecting to get a bomb or something in the mail, you know. We didn't think of it at the time, you know. In fact, we were worried about the interracial marriage because we said, oh, wow, it's going to get us canceled, right?
The moment that changed television history forever came without warning during what was supposed to be just another episode of America's favorite sitcom. The Jeffersons had been entertaining families for over a decade, breaking barriers and challenging social norms with its groundbreaking portrayal of an affluent African-American family living in Manhattan's Upper East Side. But on one fateful evening, a single scene would spark such controversy and outrage that it would ultimately lead to the show's cancellation and forever change how television networks approached sensitive content. What could have been so shocking that it ended one of television's most successful and influential series? What line was crossed that proved too much even for audiences who had embraced the show's bold social commentary for years? The truth behind this infamous moment reveals the complex tensions between artistic expression, social responsibility, and commercial viability that continue to shape television today. The Jeffersons premiered on January 18, 1975, as a spin-off from the massively successful All in the Family, created by television legend Norman Lear. The show centered around George Jefferson, played by Sherman Hemsley, and his wife Louise Jefferson, portrayed by Isabel Sanford, as they navigated life after George's successful dry cleaning business allowed them to move on up to a luxury apartment in Manhattan. The series was groundbreaking from its inception, featuring the first African-American family to be depicted as genuinely wealthy and successful on primetime television. Unlike previous portrayals of Black families on TV, the Jeffersons weren't struggling with poverty or social issues. They were living the American dream, complete with a doorman, maid, and panoramic views of the city. Sherman Hemsley's portrayal of George Jefferson created one of television's most memorable characters. George was proud, successful, and often abrasive, with strong opinions and a quick temper that frequently got him into trouble. His relationship with his wife Louise provided the show's emotional center, as she often served as the voice of reason who could calm George's more explosive tendencies. The show's supporting cast included Roxy Roker as Helen Willis, one half of television's first interracial couple, and Franklin Cover as her husband Tom Willis. This relationship was revolutionary for its time, addressing interracial marriage at a period when such unions were still controversial and, in some states, recently illegal. The character of Florence Johnston, the Jeffersons' maid played by Marla Gibbs, became a fan favorite through her sharp wit and sarcastic exchanges with George. Her presence on the show allowed the writers to explore class dynamics within the African-American community, while providing comic relief through her deadpan delivery of cutting one-liners. The show's success was immediate and sustained, running for 11 seasons and 253 episodes, making it one of the longest-running sitcoms in television history. Its theme song, "Moving On Up," became an iconic piece of American culture, perfectly capturing the optimism and aspirations of the civil rights era. Norman Lear's vision for the Jeffersons extended beyond entertainment to include social commentary and education. The show regularly tackled controversial topics including racism, classism, interracial relationships, and social mobility, often addressing issues that other television programs avoided entirely. The writing team, led by Don Nichol, Michael Ross, and Bernie West, created storylines that challenged viewers' preconceptions while maintaining the show's comedic appeal. Episodes dealt with everything from George's encounters with the Ku Klux Klan to Louise's struggles with being accepted in their affluent neighborhood. The show's approach to race relations was particularly sophisticated, showing racism from multiple perspectives, including George's own prejudices against white people, which mirrored the bigotry he faced from others. This complexity made the characters more realistic and the social commentary more effective. The series also explored generational differences within the African-American community, particularly through the character of Lionel Jefferson, George and Louise's son, who was college-educated and held more progressive views than his father. These family dynamics reflected broader changes occurring in American society during the 1970s and 1980s. Questions arise about what specific content or storylines might have ultimately led to the show's conclusion, and whether external pressures influenced the decision to end such a successful and culturally important program. The television landscape of the 1970s and 1980s was dramatically different from today's media environment, with only 3 major networks competing for viewers and significantly less tolerance for controversial content. The Federal Communications Commission held more regulatory power over broadcast content, and advertiser influence on programming decisions was substantial. The Jeffersons aired during prime time on CBS, when families gathered to watch television together, meaning that content had to be appropriate for all ages while still addressing adult themes. This balancing act required careful consideration of language, subject matter, and visual content that might be considered offensive or inappropriate. Censorship standards were much stricter during this era, with network standards and practices departments carefully reviewing scripts and finished episodes to ensure compliance with broadcast regulations. Even words and concepts that seem mild by today's standards could trigger controversy and sponsor withdrawals. The social and political climate of the late 1970s and early 1980s also influenced what was considered acceptable on television. The civil rights movement had achieved significant legal victories, but racial tensions remained high in many parts of the country, making shows like The Jeffersons both important and potentially controversial. Religious and conservative groups maintained significant influence over television content through organized boycotts and pressure campaigns against advertisers. Networks were often forced to choose between maintaining artistic integrity and preserving revenue from sponsors who might withdraw support if content became too controversial. The competition for viewers also meant that networks were constantly seeking ways to generate buzz and attract attention, sometimes leading to content that pushed boundaries beyond what audiences were prepared to accept. The business model of television during the Jeffersons era depended entirely on advertising revenue, making sponsors the ultimate arbiters of what content would remain on the air. Major corporations were extremely sensitive to any controversy that might damage their brand image or alienate potential customers. Procter & Gamble, General Motors, and other major advertisers wielded enormous influence over television programming, often demanding script approval or threatening to withdraw sponsorship if content didn't meet their standards. This corporate influence sometimes conflicted with creative and social goals of programs like The Jeffersons. The show's success made it valuable to CBS, but that same success also made it a target for criticism from groups who objected to its social commentary or controversial storylines. The network had to balance the show's popularity with the potential for advertiser backlash. The decision-making process for controversial content involved multiple levels of approval, from writers and producers to network executives and advertiser representatives. This system sometimes created conflicts between creative vision and commercial viability. Legal considerations also played a role in content decisions, as networks faced potential lawsuits from individuals or groups who felt they had been defamed or misrepresented in television programming. The legal costs and negative publicity from such lawsuits could make controversial content financially unviable. The international distribution of American television programming added another layer of complexity, as content that was acceptable in the United States might cause problems in other countries where the shows were sold, potentially affecting the overall profitability of the series. The final seasons of The Jeffersons saw the show attempting to maintain relevance as social attitudes evolved and new issues emerged. The original groundbreaking elements of the show had become more mainstream, requiring the writers to find new ways to challenge audiences and address contemporary concerns. The Reagan era brought different political and social priorities, with some audiences becoming less receptive to the type of social commentary that had made The Jeffersons successful. The show had to adapt to changing viewer expectations while maintaining its core identity and message. Cast changes and departures also affected the show's dynamic, as key actors left for other opportunities or creative differences with producers. These changes sometimes forced storyline adjustments that altered the show's tone and appeal. Competition from other programs, including new sitcoms that address similar themes, meant that The Jeffersons was no longer unique in its approach to depicting successful African American characters on television. The show's age became a factor as well, with some critics and viewers suggesting that its approach to social issues had become dated or heavy-handed compared to newer programs that address similar topics with different techniques. Questions arose about whether the show should evolve to address new social issues or maintain its focus on the themes and characters that had made it successful, creating tension between innovation and tradition. The cultural impact of The Jeffersons extended far beyond its television success, influencing how African Americans were portrayed in media and contributing to broader conversations about race, class, and social mobility in America. The show's positive depiction of Black success provided inspiration and representation that had been largely absent from television. The series challenged stereotypes and preconceptions about African American families, showing them as complex, successful, and aspirational rather than the limiting portrayals that had dominated previous television programming. This representation was particularly important for young viewers who could see positive role models on screen. The show's exploration of interracial relationships helped normalize these unions for television audiences, contributing to gradually changing social attitudes about race and marriage. The Willis family's presence on the show provided a platform for discussing the challenges and realities of interracial couples. The economic success depicted in The Jeffersons also served as a counter-narrative to prevailing assumptions about African American economic prospects, showing that business success and wealth accumulation were achievable goals rather than impossible dreams. The show's influence on subsequent television programming was significant, paving the way for other successful series featuring African American characters in positions of success and authority. Without The Jeffersons, later shows might not have found the same level of acceptance from networks and audiences. The political and social commentary embedded in The Jeffersons' storylines contributed to ongoing national conversations about equality, justice, and opportunity, using entertainment as a vehicle for education and consciousness raising. The production challenges faced by The Jeffersons reflected broader issues within the television industry regarding diversity, representation, and creative control. The show's success demonstrated that audiences were hungry for diverse programming, but it also revealed the obstacles that prevented such programming from being more common. Behind-the-scenes tensions sometimes arose between the show's creative team and network executives over how far to push social commentary and controversial content. These conflicts reflected broader debates within the industry about television's role in society and its responsibility to address important issues. The show's writers and producers had to navigate careful balances between entertainment value and educational content, ensuring that social messages didn't overwhelm the comedy that attracted viewers. This balancing act required sophisticated writing and skilled performances from the cast. Budget considerations also affected the show's production, as controversial episodes sometimes required additional legal review, insurance coverage, or security measures that increased costs beyond typical sitcom production expenses. The casting decisions for The Jeffersons were crucial to the show's success, requiring actors who could handle both comedic timing and serious dramatic moments, while portraying characters that represented important social and political themes. The show's longevity created unique challenges as actors aged, characters evolved, and social issues changed, requiring constant adaptation and reinvention to maintain relevance and audience engagement. The critical reception of The Jeffersons was generally positive throughout its run, with praise for its groundbreaking representation and social commentary balanced against occasional criticism for its approach to sensitive topics. Television critics recognized the show's importance, while sometimes questioning specific storylines or characterizations. Awards recognition for The Jeffersons included Emmy nominations for several cast members, with Isabel Sanford becoming the first African-American actress to win an Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series. This recognition validated the show's quality and cultural significance. Academic analysis of The Jeffersons has continued for decades after its conclusion, with scholars examining its role in television history, its impact on racial representation, and its contribution to social change during a crucial period in American history. International reception of The Jeffersons varied by country and cultural context, with some nations embracing its messages about equality and social mobility, while others found its content challenging or inappropriate for their audiences. The show's syndication success has allowed new generations to discover The Jeffersons, though changing social attitudes and language standards have sometimes required editing or contextual warnings for content that was acceptable in its original era, but might be considered problematic today. The educational value of The Jeffersons has been recognized through its inclusion in academic curricula and cultural studies programs that examine television's role in reflecting and shaping social attitudes about race, class, and family structures. The legacy of The Jeffersons can be seen in numerous contemporary television programs that feature diverse casts and address social issues through comedy and drama. The show's pioneering approach to representation opened doors for future programming that might not have been possible without its groundbreaking success. Modern streaming and digital distribution have given The Jeffersons new life, allowing viewers to experience the show's complete run and appreciate its historical significance within the context of television and social history. The show's influence on popular culture extends beyond television to include references in music, literature, and political discourse, with moving on up becoming a widely recognized metaphor for social and economic advancement. The continued relevance of The Jeffersons themes demonstrates that many of the social issues addressed by the show remain important topics in contemporary American society, making its legacy both historical and ongoing. The business lessons from The Jeffersons' success and conclusion continue to influence television production and network decision-making, particularly regarding how to balance creative vision with commercial viability when addressing controversial topics. The technological changes that have transformed television since the Jeffersons era have created new opportunities and challenges for programming that addresses social issues, with streaming platforms and digital distribution allowing for more diverse and experimental content than was possible during the traditional network television era. The show's approach to comedy and social commentary has influenced generations of writers, producers, and performers who seek to use entertainment as a vehicle for education and social change, though the methods and platforms for such efforts have evolved significantly. The historical documentation of the Jeffersons' production, reception, and impact provides valuable insights into television's role during a crucial period of American social change, offering lessons for contemporary media professionals and cultural observers. The preservation and study of the Jeffersons ensures that its contributions to television history and social progress will be remembered and analyzed by future generations who may face similar challenges in balancing entertainment with important media. Social messages. As television continues to evolve in the digital age, the example of the Jeffersons serves as both inspiration and cautionary tale about the power of media to influence social attitudes and the responsibility that comes with that influence. The ongoing debates about representation, diversity, and social responsibility in media can be traced back to groundbreaking programs like The Jeffersons, which demonstrated both the possibilities and limitations of using entertainment to address serious social issues. The show's conclusion marked the end of an era in television programming, but its influence continues to shape how contemporary media addresses issues of race, class, and social justice, ensuring that its legacy extends far beyond its original broadcast run. If you're as fascinated by the complex history behind one of television's most groundbreaking shows as we are, go ahead and like this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think made The Jeffersons so influential in television history? How important is it for entertainment to address social issues, and where should the line be drawn? We want to hear your perspective on the balance between entertainment and social commentary in television. Then, hit subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss our coverage of television history and the stories behind the shows that shaped American culture. Thanks for watching.